Hey everybody, good morning. It is morning here in Bradenton, in the actual city of Bradenton. The Freedom Factory and BMP is actually in, I think, DeSoto? Anyway, they're not actually in the city of Bradenton, but my hotel was. So it was me grabbing the last of my stuff, and we're heading to the car because it's time to get headed home. Sounded like there was a lot of street racing last night. Kind of sad that I wasn't out there cruising with everybody, but I had to, get some sleep because I had to get on the road early this morning. And yeah, so my family's gonna leave straight from Orlando. I'm gonna leave straight from here, and maybe we're gonna meet along the way. We'll see what happens. Here's my mileage for the trip so far as I'm about to start returning home. 1,563.5 miles. Had to just about say, you ain't getting me this morning, cleaning lady. She's been at my door at like 9 a.m. every single morning. So that's what it's telling me for the trip home. Although I may end up with my nephew and having to go to Louisville again. But 17 hours, 7 minutes, 1,200 miles from home. There's that disappointing moment when you check your navigation and you once again remember how long Florida is. It's gonna be more than 4 hours till I'm outside of this state alone. We got a long drive ahead of us. So one of the things while driving and taking vacation, or doing driving vacation specifically, is that generally road signs, the exit numbers, they're in order. So if you're going south, you can tell how far you are away from a border based on what exit you're at. If you're at exit 45, you are 45 miles from the southern border. Unfortunately, going north, the numbers go the other way. So they just keep getting higher and higher, and next thing you know, you're in another state. So, when my family calls and says, all right, we're at exit 4 in Georgia, I have to go, okay, well, I think I'm close to the border. Not sure, can't tell, because I'm at exit 423 in Florida right now. I'm pretty sure I'm close to the border, but I have no real reference to let me know. I don't know why they didn't, when they did the roads this way, why they didn't do northbound roads the opposite. They could still have the same exit number, but at least the mile markers. If you did the mile markers the opposite direction, it could help me navigate a little bit. But whatever, we'll figure it out. So my family's food stop went extra fast, so I did not manage to catch them in time. Still not sure how far away they are, but I don't think they're very far. But I'm gonna need gas probably as soon as I catch them. So we'll see. I think I'm close to the border. I'm not sure. I mean, I keep seeing signs for pecans and stuff on exit 5. So there it is. Leaving Florida. 470, that's the last mile marker, I think, of Florida. There's the Georgia sign. So I failed to mention, I made my first stop, my first gas stop back there in exit 22 in Georgia. My family was right around exit 45, I think they said, when that happened, so we'll see how long it takes me to catch up to them. But it should take, I would think, an hour or so if I'm going, if we're both traveling in the same direction, they're going 10 miles an hour slower than I am. It should take me about 2 hours to take up the 20 miles that are in between us. But we'll see. So look who I found. I had to go around some a traffic jam in Marietta, Georgia. They went one way, I went the other, and I caught them when we both jumped back on. So we're back together, at least for a little bit. All right, so we made a gas stop. I don't know, somewhere in Georgia. I got my nephew. We got Henry. I think we'll be in Tennessee probably soon. I don't know, there's another very long state. We'll get back to you when we find the border. We are now crawling through Tennessee. Oh, here's a giant bump just to let us know that. We are crawling.
Crawled through it to get to Florida too.
There's the teeny tiny sign that welcomes us to Kentucky.
World's smallest sign.
Yeah, they gotta up their sign game for sure. So that should be the last gas stop of the day, just outside of Bowling Green, Kentucky. Headed toward Louisville.
Yep, Louisville.
Louisville. Where I'm gonna get some much needed sleep. How about you? You're gonna be home, aren't ya? Oh, you sweet puppy. You sweet puppy. So we've arrived here in Louisville, Kentucky. I've been driving for 13 hours. And somebody just figured out that the keys to their loft are in the car that went to Michigan. So we're gonna get that worked out. And yeah. Sorry, it's been a long night, so. All right, good morning, everybody. Louisville, Kentucky, at my nephew's place. Just said goodbye to him. Got 5 hours to get back to Michigan. Just over 5 hours. We're probably gonna do a food and maybe a fuel stop along the way. But yeah, I'm sad my trip is ending, but Wi-Fi here was excellent. So that video that I spent a day at the hotel in St. Petersburg trying to upload, and then 3 days in Bradenton trying to upload. I started trying to upload it here and it was up within 2 hours. Like, I mean, totally up in 2 hours. So yeah, I mean, it's so nice to be back in the land of internet and phone signal. It's not funny. The same thing with my nephew. You know, his fiance, they've been separated because she's Australian, so she's living in Australia. She's back with her family there, and so, you know, they've got to talk by phone and stuff like that. And he was telling me how excited it was, or, you know, how nice it was to finally have a decent phone connection so he could talk to her over there. So yeah, I don't know what the deal is, Florida, but you really got to up your internet game. Got to do something about that. All right, but without further ado, let's get back on the road. I'm back on the road. Got about an hour, just a little over an hour till my next turn. So I can start trying to gather my thoughts from like Cleetus and Cars. Going to superimpose the images, so I'm going to talk about the autographs that I got. Because I eventually did go and get autographs, but you know, I used my trick. I basically, you know, I kept paying attention to what people were doing and, you know, how many people were over there. So if people were mobbed, I just hung out in the shade. You know, I'm not gonna stand, you know, for an hour in the sun, you know, to just occupy some guy's time to say, hey, I like your show, sign my thing. You know, I mean, everybody's gonna be up there doing it, and, you know, it's a bigger thing for some people. So for the people who really, you know, love that and don't mind waiting in line to do it, I'll let them, you know, crowd the guys and take up the room, and then, you know, later on, once all those people are through and the guys are just standing there hanging out, not really talking to anybody, that's when I took my shot to go up and, you know, hang out and get my stuff signed and stuff like that. So I'll put pictures in here of, so when I first walked into the track, I kind of like you saw in the video, I kind of walked the track and was looking at stuff. So I picked up a piece of taillight from, could have been any of the cars. Wasn't really important whose car it was from. It was a Freedom 500 taillight piece. Just something cool to have. I don't know why it's cool for some of us to have a broken car part, but that was my broken car part for the day. And then later on, I found a piece of headlight, and it's splattered with orange paint. It pretty much means it could only come off of one car. The car with the orange splatter paint, which was Adam LZ's car. So that's pretty cool. I got a little piece of Adam LZ's headlight. But instead of having those guys, you know, like most of the people there would have these guys sign shirts. You know, so there was a bunch of people, you know, walking around in a sweaty shirt. You know, it's all beat up and wrinkled, and it's signed 1,000 times by absolutely everybody that was there. Now, while it's cool to have a t-shirt that was signed by everybody there, you know, for me to have been wearing it all day and then you're gonna have to wash it. I've had a t-shirt that was signed before. You can't wash it. That marker's gonna wash right out after 2 or 3 washes. So it's kind of pointless to have them wash a shirt because you're not gonna have that signature very long. That's just for you to go to a car show and that shirt one more time and say, hey, look, my shirt was signed by all these guys. So rather than do that, I had them sign my time slips from the whole week. So I had side-by-side blog guys. Unfortunately, they did not have Sharpies. None of those guys had anything to sign with, no pens, nothing. But I managed to come up with another fan who happened to have a Sharpie. So I got Leo and Doug, but wasn't able to get Nick Seuss or Rich Rules, although I did get to talk to Rich. My fastest time from Showtime. So I took that to the Faster Proms guys since Jeremy was there that day. And so I had Laz, George, and Jeremy sign it for me. And had a pretty good talk with those guys about it and stuff like that. I mean, you know, I told Jeremy that, you know, it was my personal best 8th mile, and that I reset it the next day at Bradenton. He says, oh yeah, you 60-footed better for sure. It's like, yeah, that's for sure. So I mean, that guy's really knowledgeable, really friendly guy. He asked me if I had stopped by the shop, and so I don't know if it would have been cool if I'd have pulled in there when I went by the shop, but I didn't feel that was an okay thing to do, so that's why I didn't pull onto their property. Even if he might have thought it was cool, I know Cleetus used to have trouble with that because people used to just show up, drive back in there, get out of the car, and start wandering around the shop. That's not cool. But yeah, so I mean, it was fun to talk to those guys. My first slip from Bradenton was a personal best at the time. Since it was the first slip there, I had Doug from Motion Raceworks sign it, and later on that day, that's what I had Cleetus sign. I mean, I didn't have him sign my absolute fastest of the day, but it was my first pass in the Cleetus McFarland lane in Bradenton. He's the reason I came, so that's why I had him sign that slip. I had Jamie and Brent sign my fastest time slip for Bradenton. And who else? I had somebody else sign something. I think I had Doug Martin sign my other. Yeah, I think that's who signed the first one from Showtime, the slower one from Showtime. So, but my overall thoughts on my whole experience as a whole was just, you know, it was so nice to get back to being an American again. And I know that's something that gets thrown around a lot, particularly around, you know, the Cleetus channel and Cleetus fans and stuff like that. But really, to be at an event with hundreds of people and not have to wear a mask, even though you could if you wanted to. Some people wore masks. There were some older people there, and you wore a mask, and I respect that. But to be there with hundreds of people, not have to wear masks, you know, just hanging out, shaking hands, high-fiving, fist bumping. Man, it's, you know, it's been too long. And I've been just dying for it because normally I spend my summers going to concerts and stuff like that. And I've been to a lot, me and my friends. We usually go to, you know, 5 or 6 shows a year. So you know, all last year I've been able to do that. My last show was I saw Last in Line open for UFO in Diesel Concert Lounge in Chesterfield Township, Michigan. It was a hell of a show. It was one of the best shows I ever saw in my life, but that was my last show. That was in October 2019. And I love going to see shows, and you know, I just can't wait for, you know, for all this to settle down and for us to just go back to living. Well, we've just crossed the Ohio River. I did not see a sign, but I'm just gonna assume that we are now in Ohio. Yep, there's a sign for it now. I don't have the camera on a stick right now, so I'm not gonna be able to turn the camera around and show you the Ohio sign. But just know it's the word Ohio written out in Ohio. So whatever, Ohio. Now we gotta get to Michigan. All right, so made a fuel stop here in Minster, Ohio, and it's a German town. I've been here before. It's German descended town. Radio. So they have like a giant Oktoberfest in the downtown of this little town. So if you're into that sort of thing, it's a cool party. So just a teeny bit further up the road, stop back in line at Kewpie again. My Kewpie. Gotta have these hamburgers. I don't know if I mentioned in the other video, they do pie specials every month, like Febby Cherry, Mark Chocolate. I think they're doing sugar cream today. It sounded pretty good, even though I'm not really a pie person. You can get olives on your burgers, which is the big thing my family likes. But yeah, good spot to eat. Check it out if you're in town. The ride home hasn't been entirely uneventful. I heard noises the whole way from Florida to Georgia. I mean, under certain conditions, like under braking and stuff, scraping noises and weird bangs and stuff like that. So when I split off with my nephew yesterday, right before that, I got a chance to look under the car, and the belly pan has been missing for a while. The shop that worked on my car, whenever they worked on it last, never put that belly pan back on, so that's missing, and none of the bolts in the front are in it, so the air dam's kind of been flapping around and smacking the ground and stuff like that. So in addition to that, I've been hearing some kind of clunking in the brakes of the suspension. I don't really know. I mean, at this point, I feel confident it's going to get me the rest of the way home, but it's definitely something I got to look into. I don't know if you can see my right shoulder.
It's a tragic story, it really is, and I believe there
probably not showing up.
Which was something that was at the core of everything.
Ohio State Patrol.
So it's just it's crazy. It's tragic to think of a guy that was in a band as big as King.
I basically made it home, but you can hear that, right? Thing is, it doesn't make any noise at highway speed. Ooh. God, that doesn't sound good at all. Jesus. Oh my God. So there's definitely like a thump in the brake pedal and a little like weird clunk in the steering sometimes. So we'll have to get it up in the air and figure it out, but that's gonna have to wait till tomorrow or maybe the weekend. because yeah, I gotta go back to work this week. So I gotta finish up everything that we've been working on, and let's go ahead and get a final tally on the mileage. 2,824.8. I also made 17.3 miles per gallon, and mind you, that's the drag passes and everything combined. There is not 1 mile from when I left my house that is not on there. So that's it for this time, and I'll see you next time.